Now, some people took a blind man to Jesus and they begged Jesus to touch him. And Jesus took the man by his hand and led him out of the village. And then Jesus spit on the man's eyes and touched him. And Jesus said, "What do you see?" And the man said, "I see people like trees walking around." And so Jesus placed his hands on the man again, and the man's eyesight was restored, and he could see everything clearly. And then Jesus told the man to go home, but not to go into the villages. Now, as Jesus and his disciples were going through the villages around Caesarea Philippi, Jesus asked his disciples, "Who do people say that I am?" And they said, "Some say John the Baptist, others say Elijah, and still others say one of the prophets." But Jesus said, "But what about you? Who do you say that I am?" And Peter said, "You are the Christ." And then Jesus warned them not to tell anyone about him. And then Jesus began to tell them that the Son of Man would suffer many things, and that he would be rejected by the chief priests and the elders and the teachers of the law, that he would be killed, and then on the third day rise again. And Peter took Jesus aside, and Peter rebuked Jesus. And Jesus rebuked Peter, saying, "Get behind me, Satan, because you do not have the things of God in mind, but the things of men." And then Jesus called the crowd and his disciples around him, and he said this, "If anyone would come after me, he must deny himself and take up his cross and follow me. For if anyone wants to save his life, he will lose it. But if anyone loses his life for me and for the gospel, he will save it. For what good is it," Jesus said, "if a man gain the whole world but lose his soul? And what can a man give in exchange for his soul?" And Jesus said, if anyone was ashamed of him and his words, then the Son of Man would be ashamed of him when he comes, or when he would come in his Father's glory and with his holy angels. And this is the story of Peter's confession from Mark chapter 8.